Joining us now is Gerard Filitti with the Lawfare Project Senior Counsel. So glad that you're here to talk us through all of this. Gerard, what's your reaction to what the president has said about gold cards and your reaction overall?
It's certainly an interesting program, and it builds on what already exists under U.S. law. There is an EB-5 immigrant investment program that has for years now required a minimum of $1 million investment and the creation of jobs in order to have that immigration status with a potential for citizenship. So what President Trump is doing essentially is he's raising the bar. He's making it a $5 million price of entry, not just $1 million, but the same pathway to having a green card. It clarifies and simplifies the process that's already in place.
The president also says the gold card has the same privileges of a green card, but also provides a pathway to citizenship. So there's a lot going on here with this type of card. How do you see that being worked out? And, when you take a look at who's going to be paying for this, the $5 million, how soon do they get these benefits? How is this going to work?
Well, the devil's in the details, as with a lot of these proposals. And I think that what we will end up seeing is we will probably need Congress to authorize it. Anything having to do with immigration, regularizing immigration status, is something that is within the purview of Congress. And what we may well see is the need to amend the Immigration and Nationality Act in order to allow this to happen, especially since the EB-5 visa program was just renewed a few years ago and is still in force. So I think President Trump will need to work with the House and Senate in order to make these modifications to the existing program.
Yeah, there's a long road ahead on this. And Trump has said that gold cards will replace the EB-5 Immigrant Investor Program. This is something that Congress created in 1990 to boost economic growth, and it is for foreigners and their families to apply for permanent residence if they make investments and create or retain 10 full-time jobs. So what kind of challenges are we talking about here when you see these gold cards replacing that program?
If anything, the gold card program might be simpler, even though you had a very brilliant short summary of the current EB-5 program. In actuality, it has a lot more components. You can create more or less jobs. You have a provision for creating something called indirect jobs. You have a lower or higher threshold of investment, depending on whether you're investing in a rural area or in an area with high unemployment. And that type of multitude of subparts made it ripe for abuse and fraud. I think what Donald Trump is trying to do is oversimplify it to the point that it's a clear distinction. You invest $5 million and you get to come to the U.S. That is in line also with what a lot of other countries have in terms of immigration investment.
The president says these will start going on sale in about 2 weeks. That is not a lot of time. Is it really possible, this timetable for immigration officials to roll out this program? Isn't there more that needs to be done? Or is it okay to go that fast?
I think in 2 weeks we'll have something like a pre-sale where you sign up to invest in it when it's finally authorized by Congress. But I don't think that we'll have an actual $5 million investment coming in and people starting to arrive in 2 weeks' time. This is something that he needs to work out with Congress.
All right. Well, like I said, a lot of road still ahead. Gerard Filitti, thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate you breaking that down for us.
Pleasure. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you soon. President Trump.